Wait.
What the hell?
I stretched my back and I didn't want
No, you know
people
what?
to see my armpits.
We're leaving it.
All right. I just didn't. Don't look at my armpits, please.
Welcome to the shit what that they do not tell you. My name is Stephen Green.
My name is Nikki Limo, and it's shit they don't tell you. In case you're a first-time listener and you're like, wait, is this the right podcast?
No, it is the right. You have come to the right place.
Okay.
And today we have the right topic for you.
All right.
So how do you know if you are biased, Nikki?
I'm hella biased.
Me too.
Unless I don't care about either thing.
Dude, if you are talking about football, I'm like, fuck Tom Brady. He sucks at football.
Yeah.
Even though he's fucking great at football. But I'm pretty biased about Tom Brady. Anytime Tom Brady does almost anything, I'm like, fuck that guy.
Because he wins too much?
Absolutely, because he beat my team too many times.
Yeah.
Beat my Colts up, man.
But you'll still stick up. You are still unbiased in certain circumstances. Like during Deflategate, you were like, yo, I hate Tom Brady, but I
thought
still...
it was complete bullshit.
Right.
I thought that was complete fucking bullshit. And I've never read anything almost in my entire life wanting to believe that it was true more. Because if you don't know, real quickly, Deflategate was when Tom Brady, they alleged that, the NFL alleged that Tom Brady was deflating footballs, or that he had an NFL equipment guy from the Patriots organization purposely deflate footballs in order to make them easier for the receivers to catch.
Mm-hmm.
And so... they actually found
the
the
PSI
pressure
was lower
exactly.
than the blip.
Insert balls, doesn't matter, blah, 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 so boring. Point is, they really didn't have a case against him, but they had a bunch of headlines against him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how they played it.
Yeah. Headlines equals the truth, apparently.
You could really get people to believe, because I heard people at bars and places, sports bars and shit, repeating the headlines. They didn't even look into Deflategate, which is wild.
Well, when someone wins too much, they want a reason besides that person trains a lot and is good at being a player, but they like to think that they must be cheating.
I wanted to believe it. And look, we all remember when the Jets got spied on by the Patriots. They were, if you're not into football, this isn't about that. But they were recording Jets sideline hand signals to try to figure out what they were going to do play-wise before the play snapped. Mm. And so the Patriots got busted doing that, and they actually lost a draft pick because of it in the first round. And I think that somebody got suspended. I don't remember from the organization.
But that was an actual thing that happened.
That actually happened. And so many of us who hate the Patriots, as I do, were like, fuck them. They couldn't have done it. Because they couldn't have won none of those Super Bowls because they had only won 3 at the time. Mm-hmm. If they weren't doing the spy shit, they were definitely doing that shit, because I needed to believe that, because they were wrecking everybody, especially my team, for so long, doing it so well. And then they had a bit of a dry spell after that. They hadn't won a Super Bowl in years. Everyone's like, nah, dude, they were definitely only winning because they were spying. And then they go and win fucking 3. They popped 3 off.
Yeah.
Inside of 5 years.
Right.
So... extra hard, fuck them. But so after that, everyone's like, well, they're not cheating this time. We know that they're not using the sideline thing. There's got to be something going on. And then Deflategate happened. And it happened actually against my Colts in the AFC Championship
I remember
game.
that. I was watching the game.
Correct. But our GM at the time was such a bitch, Ryan Grigson. He called and told on the Patriots because we got embarrassed so fucking bad in that game.
Yeah, it was pretty harsh.
It was like 35-0.
It was a brutal game to watch.
Brutal.
It was raining.
Game. I was so excited for that game. I spent a whole week just fucking on the edge of my seat excited for that game.
I vlogged it. It's actually, well, I didn't vlog the game, but I vlogged your reaction afterwards.
Yeah.
It's on our vlog channel, youtube.com/Nikki.
So point being, I'm so biased against the Patriots.
Right. But you still were able to let go of that bias when it came down to being fair.
I want to know why, right? That's it. I just want to know why. If I can staple Tom Brady to a wall, I want to know why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know why the Village is putting Tom Brady up on the wall.
But that's what I love about you. Because I feel like in this day and age, it's really hard to find people that are willing to set aside their own opinions and beliefs
we all have
to
our bullshit.
Be unbiased and really just examine two sides of something.
Yes.
And it sucks.
It's one of my favorite exercises, actually.
Yeah.
I find it very, very enjoyable. And I do have my own personal opinions. Opinions are different, right?
Yeah.
So you have your own thoughts about things. Like, I have thoughts about all the issues of things that you have thoughts about, right? But I also want to know what the other side thinks.
And why.
Right.
That's how I am too. Like, I love knowing why. I am just very curious. That's why I liked being an actor, because I love learning how people who I'm not like them, but I want to know why they are the way they are. Why do they do that? And it sucks that most people don't want to know. Most people are like, if you don't agree with me, you don't have my beliefs, I don't even want to know you.
I don't want to know you.
I don't want to talk to you. I don't need to know why you think that way.
I don't know you anymore. And oh, God.
Yeah, and it sucks.
And dude, this extends, everyone right now is probably thinking about sports or politics or whatever. I'm talking about, dude, I am anti-hot air balloon. What do you think of that? What do you think of that shit?
That's true. You popped my cherry on that. Or not popped my cherry. You popped my bubble.
I popped
you did pop my cherry too. Yeah.
Thank you. Many times. But Nikki used to want to go on a hot air balloon ride super bad. And then I was just like, yo, dude.
I wanted to get proposed to on a hot air balloon.
You wanted to get proposed to.
That was my dream proposal.
Yep. And for me, I'm not taking that risk with this hot piece of ass.
I was like, it's so innocent. Look at these balloons. They're in like posters, motivational posters.
Oh, no. Oh, no. And by the way, my bias against them is not that I think that something will happen when we're on it necessarily.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Why take the risk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With power lines and operability issues. And
so it's the hot air balloon thing to me was like how I used to want to try every drug. And then as more and more I learned more information about the effects of different drugs, I slowly did not want to try any drugs ever at all.
Same as me.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw the information about what I think it was acid does to your brain, how it can burn holes into your brain, I was like, fuck that.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
Because I still want to try it, but I don't want to try it now.
Now I got to wait till I'm like 80 or some shit.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck it. Give me acid trips. Let's go.
I mean, I guess the pandemic it'd be an ideal time to try it because, we got to lose right now. Hey, we should try acid after
Let's do acid.
this show.
How do you get acid during this even?
Just kidding. Yeah, you got to get some social distance acid.
Unfortunately. Yeah, so a lot of people listening right now, I know it's like you've heard critical thinking before, but have you heard the definition of what it is? Okay, this is from criticalthinking.org. Hat tip to them.
You didn't just go to dictionary.com?
No, I wanted to go to an organization.
To an organization that supports critical thinking.
I'm very anti-dictionary, you know that.
Right.
And I've given really good reasons.
True.
See?
Some of them are very titillating.
They won't acknowledge some of the most lit fucking words in existence.
Yep.
Critical thinking is the intellectually disciplined process of actively and skillfully conceptualizing, applying, analyzing, synthesizing, and or evaluating information garnered from or generated by
orgasms?
No.
Oh, I thought you said orgasms.
I said observation.
Go ahead.
You want to talk about orgasms?
No, you just said orgasms.
I want to have an orgasm.
Okay. I approve.
Well, when?
I don't know. Continue your definition.
All right. Well, you brought up orgasms. Now I'm thinking
You brought
about.
It up.
Gender by I'm all scrambled now.
You having an orgasm?
Maybe. All right, we got it, guys.
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
Basically, just fucking stop. Don't have an emotional reaction before you listen to.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you hear about something, don't have already made up your mind about it.
Right.
That's all. And you can have an opinion about it already. That's all. That's what everyone does. That's normal human fucking reaction, right? But the idea that you're completely walled off to it just because you already decided something, that's a little scary to me.
Yeah. My favorite is when people who won't listen to another opinion because it might be different than theirs says their reasoning is because that person's closed-minded.
Isn't that wild?
It's like pot, kettle, black, you.
Right. No, I've seen a lot of that. And then a lot of, I don't want to hear what you're saying right now because it's word violence. And it's like, brother. Like, because, okay, for some people, having a debate or argument about something can affect the rest of their day. Right, that really can. So I can understand that. Right, they feel very like.
Right, the act of having to articulate their side is.
They can get passionate about it and emotional about it, and so that happens to people. I can totally relate to that. We've all been there. At some point, but yeah, just that you can't sit there with somebody and who you disagree with and just try to talk about something is pretty wild.
Another thing that I don't like is since I do like learning about all different types of beliefs and even like things like feng shui or like crystals or whatever, like, oh, people think this, and I like learning about it, and then I get excited to share what I learned, and then people think like that you adopted that just because you learned about it, and it's like,
right.
Are we just not allowed to learn about anything without like that has to be our identity?
And you can pick and choose, right?
Yeah.
So like I learned about feng shui from you.
Yeah.
And it was something that I have always thought to be complete bullshit. And I think that there are a lot of elements of bullshit. So do you.
Sure.
In feng shui.
I mean, I'm not, that's the thing is like, I'm not a hardcore like religious believer in anything. I just like to sample things that I like about things.
But since you have come into my life and done your feng shui thing, it sure beats my bachelor fucking thing.
Yeah.
Or like the way that I used to
your
arrange
place looked
furniture.
like shit.
Thank you. But that's what I mean. I wasn't so closed-minded to feng shui that I'm like, don't do that bullshit in here. This is a very serious, science-oriented house.
Yeah.
Where we like to have the TV kitty cornered next to the couch like this. And I like it at an angle, actually. I like the diagonality.
And we don't like flat screen TVs in this household, ma'am.
That's right.
We like
rounded,
huge box TV sets. They're top of the line.
They're called CRT rear projection.
I got them in 2005, and it's 2000. It's a 2005 top of the line TV.
Oh, you guys, she hated my TV so much. It's so sad. It made me so sad. I used to love that television set, guys. I used to send out emails before Super Bowls that would brag about how sick my fucking TV
it was embarrassing because then I saw it and I was like, no, like I have a flat screen from Costco that was $200 that is a more advanced TV than that.
It's hard to hear. It's always hard to hear. But you were right.
Thank you.
It's just that I had bought it, so I had bias.
I know.
I had
bias.
I had an emotional connection to that television set. I had bought it in 2006. I slept out all night to get it on Black Friday. Mm-hmm. I was one of those trash people. I still am. So I was there for 7.5 hours, and I got that TV. I bought it with my own money that I worked for.
My own money.
Yep. And then I brought it home, and then I moved out, and I brought that TV up to LA with me. I had to fucking strap it to the back of my truck in open air with U-Haul blankets over it, and like it was pretty nuts. But I took that TV with me everywhere. I moved to Koreatown with it. Mm-hmm. I was so happy with it. I moved it to eventually to our place. Mm-hmm. Well, what would become our place? My bachelor pad
that I moved into, and I just rocked your world.
You So I used to brag about this TV. I even bragged about it on a date with Nikki.
He couldn't even give it away for free on Craigslist.
It hurts to hear.
Yeah.
Because I loved it so.
I know.
This is 2013, by the way. So I got that TV in 2006. 2005. I got that TV in 2005. How do you know better than I do? Jesus. Okay. It's 2013. Nikki is lighting my ass up about this TV and about how her little fucking TV is better than my TV. I actually went to look it up and I was like, I'll be goddamned. Because my TV could only do 480p and 1080i. But I thought 1080i was so sick. But then your little TV did 1080p. And I was like, that's so fucking cool.
And you didn't get your mind changed, even knowing the specs, you didn't get it changed until you played GTA on your brother's shit TV that had like a fucking ghost screen, it was shit. It had like what is that? Like when you turn it off and there's still like a picture there?
Yeah.
It had like a burning thing in it. And it was still better than your TV.
It was. No, because of the motion.
Yeah.
Right? So the beauty about smaller TVs, especially if it's like a 720p even, is that you really aren't going to get a lot of benefit out of having a 1080p TV if it's smaller. Like if it's like a 35 inch or whatever, it doesn't really matter. So, but 720p on those things looks sick. And so when I saw a game on there that I had been playing on our shit TV,
not ours. I do not claim that TV. I had my own TV in the bedroom that I watched.
I wish you would. When I saw the detail in the game, the same game I had played the day before, I was floored. And it wasn't an eye thing.
Yeah.
I was really close to the TV both times. Just depressing shit, man. Just depressing shit.
Right.
How many years I stuck up for that TV? I went to places for that TV.
1 year in 2005, you were right.
For a whole year, probably. I wonder how many people used to make fun of me behind my back about that TV. Because I used to, like I said, I sent out, and guys, this isn't about a TV right now. It's about my own personal bias.
Yeah.
I was so sticking up for that thing no matter where I went. And once I found out, once the spell was broken, I could never see it the same way. I actually left it on the curb.
Yeah. And no one picked it up for like a week. So I think one benefit to your brand being satire and trolling is maybe people thought you were joking.
That's hilarious. That was actually my pre-trolling days.
Okay.
So
we still were sarcastic.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh yeah.
You know.
True.
Anyway, back to critical thinking.
Yeah. So when you have an emotional connection to something like Mind Television,
yeah,
you're just gonna go into every conversation about it already just waiting to talk, waiting to defend your point of view.
Yeah.
And that's just boring to me. I don't know. That's all it is to me. It's just very boring.
It is boring.
Like everyone likes to hate on my energy drink love. They like to hate on my caffeine love. I have looked into this shit. Okay? The studies about the diet sodas and all that shit, a lot of that stuff was done under false pretenses that eventually got scientifically debunked later on, which is why you can't do a class action lawsuit against Coca-Cola Company or any of that shit, because they don't have the evidence about that shit like they did against cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, even the cigarette companies had that information, like, internally. And that's how they were able to go to those guys and fucking wreck them. It's because the cigarette companies were fucking covering that shit up for years, and then eventually they couldn't pay for enough of these scientists who would cover for them. So the cat got out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And so, but I like to look at the other side, right? So people always constantly sending me shit about energy drinks sucking and stuff. And I like to read those things because I want to know why I think what I think. That's all. I want to be able to defend it if somebody asks me about it.
Do you agree that like food and drinks that are processed are probably not the healthiest for your body?
When you say that, right, you have to classify what you mean by healthiest, right? Because that's a pretty loosey-goosey term.
Okay.
So it's just about, I understand that people have beliefs that processed foods are quote unquote bad for you, right? Mm-hmm. And you could break that down, and I could even make that argument really well for you by saying that sodium, like having too much sodium,
right, can
negatively impact your body, obviously. So a lot of processed foods have fuck tons of sodium in them. So you could easily make that argument there. But if you don't like abuse processed foods, if that's not all you're eating, then you aren't going to have a lot of negative health. Like everything in moderation, right?
Isn't one of the top ingredients in diet soda sodium phosphate?
It's not. No. Look, that's not the kind of sodium I'm talking about.
I don't research it enough.
No, right. So there's 200 milligrams of sodium in here.
Okay.
In this little Red Bull right here.
Right. I don't think it's necessarily the sodium people are going after, but I was just wondering.
Sodium citrate, not phosphate.
Yeah. For me, when I'm saying like healthy, is that like, so your body, the way that it breaks down foods and stuff is it takes it into like little blocks and stuff, mm-hmm, and breaks it down and then uses like vitamins and nutrients from things. So if the things that it's trying to break down and the ingredients in your beverage or food is not something it can readily like use or absorb, it just comes out in your pee. Yeah,
right. So your body filters it out. But that's what I'm saying, right?
But it has to like hold the toxins in there.
What do you mean?
Well, like as it's filtering it out.
Well, sure, but that's just like drinking alcohol. Like it's the same kind of shit.
No, it totally is like drinking alcohol. Right. No one's saying that drinking a bunch of alcohol is healthy either.
No way. Nobody's saying that.
Yeah.
Except they say that maybe wine actually has health benefits if you have like a glass of wine.
Glass of red wine.
Mm-hmm. But then also even that study gets reversed in and on itself every couple of years.
Totally.
Some are like, yo, this is great for you. Some are like, actually, we're not necessarily seeing that here. And then some are like, actually, it is great for you.
So then knowing like the arguments that are out there, then you can decide how much you care about it.
Exactly. And you can decide for yourself based on what they're saying, right? So I know that energy drinks are not quote unquote bad for you, but I know that you should not be binging them. Like you can, because okay, so one of the biggest things that get cited in all these diet soda studies are that your propensity to for sweetness, mm-hmm, gets like increased because you're drinking these diet sodas and there's no guilt associated with them. So then you're more likely to eat something sweet that is bad for you, mm-hmm, right? That is like bad for you health fat wise or whatever, right? So you're likely
your sugar cravings go up.
Exactly. Your sugar cravings go up, and then that can lead to diabetes. So they've linked those things.
Okay.
But that's a behavioral thing. That's not what you're getting from drinking this.
Yeah, that's psychological.
Exactly. And so that's the kind of thing that I have learned instead of reading the headline of something if you actually break it down to what they're saying about it, then you can really understand the issue better. That's all.
And what do you do when there's like contradicting sources out there? You know, like where you go to research something and then, you know, one thing completely contradicts the other thing. How do you know which source is more valid?
Well, it depends on what we're talking about. I mean, that's why I try to bounce into the context of all things, right? Because like news organizations could be talking about something, and then at the bottom of the 15th paragraph, they actually reverse their own headline because they have to put that in there legally for themselves. I've seen that so many times, it's crazy. So that's why the media has really low approval rating in the country, because I think in the world, is because they constantly, like, you know, they gotta get clicks. We all get it. Like you gotta try to get people to click on your shit.
Sure.
So, but then people aren't as likely to trust you about the next thing that you talk about.
Yeah, I don't even read or watch the news because I feel like it's just to incite people's emotions and get people fighting with each other. I really think that because no one clicks on it. If it's something good, like positive, people don't click on it. Same thing with YouTube too, by the way. If you have a negative title or thumbnail, it's way more likely to get clicked on than if you have like a positive thumbnail title.
Dude, that's exactly right. Which is why it's interesting to see what John Krasinski did with that good news thing.
I like that.
Yeah, because I think that there's a clamoring for that out there where people are just like, I don't want to turn on TV.
Yeah,
I
used to go to you like at the end of a day and be like, tell me something good.
You did that a lot, yeah. You haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, because I don't know, mental health wise, if you stay away from news, you cut out toxic people. I mean, you kind of like get your own sense of self back and like can be more present in what's going on in your own life rather than like feeling like you have no control over everything going on in the world.
Exactly.
Because especially if you're empathic and you just like you pick up like the anxiety of people all over the world, like that's so much for one person to handle.
And that's what I'm all about, right?
Yeah.
What are you doing that can be more productive for yourself?
Yeah.
Right? Like so many people obsess about things that they cannot control. Like have your thoughts, your opinions, but don't obsess about things that ultimately are completely out of your hands.
And then also the people that police other people who aren't following what they believe to be true.
Right.
And it's happened throughout history, like with religions, with politics, with even right now, like, you know, wearing a mask or not in your neighborhood.
Right.
You know, it's just like people are policing other people or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to point at you and start yelling at you.
Yeah.
So when I'm talking to anybody, really, I just try to hear them for what they're saying, right? I don't try to judge them. And I think that a lot of people start to hear something and then they start judging you as somebody. They've already figured out who you are based on somebody else they talk to who thinks something like what you think, and they're starting to piece you together against somebody else.
Which is so counterproductive if you actually want to change someone's mind.
Absolutely.
If someone disagrees with you and you actually want them to see your side, it doesn't help you to just judge them and start like berating them or calling them names or saying that you won't talk to them. Like the only way to actually have a conversation and get someone to see your point of view is to see their point of view and genuinely want to listen to theirs.
Yeah, man. And dude, it's no different than there's that KKK guy who or the black guy who goes to the KKK and like he has talked to them. I can't remember his name, Walt or something.
I haven't seen that.
He was on Joe Rogan a couple times, but he basically has taken guys out of the KKK by just sitting with them and talking with them and not just dismissing them and being like, fuck you back. Like he's like, why do you think all these shitty things about me? And he's actually really reached people because of that. And I just think that is such a more worth it thing. Like trying to understand people and change them from understanding them.
Yeah.
Than the whole like, fuck you, man. I don't even associate with you. It's like,
that just reinforces.
We all know that the KKK guys are fucking awful, right?
Yeah.
But why they think what they think is too bad, right? Whatever the fuck it is. But the idea that we have to write them off and you don't want to hear out not what their opinion is, but the human side of them to try to reach them, that it just sucks sometimes. Because if say my brother I found out that he's like KKK guy or some shit.
Yeah.
That's devastating news. Like that's awful. But it's like, hey man, how do we talk about this in a way where you can be reached and not just like I'm throwing you in a jail cell in my head?
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
That's a hard one too.
It's so hard
because like even just thinking of trying to have a conversation with a KKK person.
That's why this guy's epic at it.
Yeah,
and I would suck at it. Like I would just be too, I think, emotional about it. But this guy is a fucking Zen Jedi.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the level I wish that everyone was at. Like I feel like if everyone just had the ability or like open-mindedness or honed the habit of listening rather than like judging right away.
Yeah, and look,
we'd be a lot more peaceful.
I'll admit I do just judge right away when it comes to KKK people.
True, child molesters.
Yeah,
but
right. Some things are just too hot button for me. But I just admire this man's ability to do that.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well,
I wish that I had more of that just in the more calm things that sometimes I get pissed about.
It's like Mindhunters, like where they go and like interview serial killers. It's like, yeah, the acts that they did were horrendous, atrocious, despicable, but don't you want to know why?
Right.
Like I do want to know why.
But then
what were the motives behind that?
But now I am a victim's family member, and I'm like, how dare you try to understand this monster? He's a monster.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to? What are you trying to read the monster's diary? Like, you getting off on this shit? Like, what's your deal? Like, my family member died. See how that can be turned on you?
Totally, but then
and on science.
But then you see why by the end is that they used all of that information and data to
profile people.
Yeah, to profile people and to find out that like your childhood psychology and stuff that happens to you and trauma, like how much trauma you go through as a child is really important to how you develop as an adult and like what like a flip that gets switched in there. And so like then, parenting books start changing, things like that, like things start changing all over the place that make the world better and stop creating more serial killers. And
right.
I think that people lose sight of the big picture when they're just honed in on this like, well, this happened to me and my story and that like fuck this person forever.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but if you never try to understand, then you can't make a real change.
Totally. So I remember it's just like, dude, somebody in a really religious family or something who were raised to think that gay people are bad.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like yelling at them back instead of trying to reach them. That's all. I just think that stuff, like when I was a kid, I had a lesbian biology teacher, and she was like one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. And her being a lesbian was not scary. Mm-hmm. But I think that's to some kids that could be just the frightening endeavor that there's this quote unquote sinner who is going to teach them something. It's like, because they're raised to think that. And that's too bad, because if they had critical thinking, then they could sit there and actually just hear this person and not just see the sign that they put on their face. And
challenge their own beliefs.
Exactly.
About why do they think that way? Like, why am I scared of you for being gay?
Right.
But we'll talk about that after this break. Okay, so if you're looking for a way to pass the time, which at this point you've probably done every puzzle under the book, every freaking book on your shelf, you've watched every TV show. Okay, so if you're looking for a new fun way to pass the time while engaging your brain and enjoying breathtaking visuals and a gripping story, your answer is Best Fiends, okay? The Best Fiends has one of the most stunning graphics, okay? They have so many fun characters. Yep. What I like about it is that you earn different characters that help you complete different puzzles and games along the way, and you get to different levels, and every level looks different. And the way they switch it up to keep you coming back, because you're like, oh, I kind of like get it. I don't really need to come back. Yes, you do, because they add new events all the time, new challenges. So there's always like something to keep you coming back. And I really like that part. I really like something to look forward to.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. I'm always like, what level or what new challenge is going to come? Yeah. So I have been playing for a while, but I kind of like play whenever I just need to pass the time here and there. So I'm only on level like 105.
Oh.
But.
Wow, I thought you played really hard.
I know. I just, sometimes I just play here and there, and I don't know. haven't advanced as much. But yeah, so it's a very unique and exciting puzzle experience, unlike any other puzzle experience I have ever enjoyed. And you can engage your brain with the puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. And with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must play, okay? So download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's Friends without the R, Best Fiends.
And it doesn't need the internet to play it.
Oh, yeah. You don't need the internet for it. You don't need Wi-Fi. So if you're like in a no Wi-Fi zone, you're like, oh no, how do I go on Instagram? You can't. Well, you guess what? You can play this game.
Or if you're role-playing that you're on a plane, because we don't go on planes right now.
And in the role play, there's no Wi-Fi?
Well, yeah, there wouldn't be. There you go.
Well, like maybe they charge you $7 for Boingo.
Oh yeah, you probably got to pay
that. You're like, no, I don't want to buy that.
Like,
so you play the game instead.
Yes, you play offline, exactly. Yeah. That's Friends Without the R, Best Fiends. And welcome back to the shit that they don't tell you. I'm Steve.
Why are you reintroducing the show? Just go back to your conversation.
No, they were just on an ad break, so I wanted to
It's like a baseball announcer. Okay, they know what podcasts they're listening to.
Yeah, you guys are back on the shit that they don't tell you. And today we are continuing our discussion about critical thinking.
Cool. My critical thoughts are fucking move it along.
Oh, damn. All right. Yeah. So Nikki, what do you do to critically think about something? Have you ever actually analyzed?
Well,
what your process is?
I haven't analyzed it before, but I guess if I were to think about it right now on the spot, something gets presented to me, and then I have an opinion about it, or maybe there's two people fighting and I have no opinions on this subject matter.
Oh yeah.
Those are like one of two things that usually happen. Either I've had an opinion or I didn't even know to have an opinion. And then if it's me observing a brand new thing, it's easier to listen to both sides because I've not developed an emotional connection. I may have developed an emotional connection to one of the people involved.
Of course.
So then that kind of throws something. But yeah, I would just listen to both sides, and maybe someone will bring up something that I can relate to, and then that better shapes like where my opinion will go. Because if I can relate to something, it's easier for me to digest it and understand and agree with them.
Dude, a couple years ago, I was warring with a family member. At war, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was my stupid aunt that I hate.
Right.
Yeah.
I know the one.
So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about how I hate her. No, I'm kidding. No. But the point is that I was emotionally embattled in this because my aunt had talked shit on my family, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was like, fuck this chick. I'm not into it. And my ma was hurt that I was going after her sister because that, even though her sister had talked bad on my ma, I had created distance between them two because I injected myself into this situation.
Right.
With a very strongly worded text.
Right.
Had I been thinking critically about this instead of emotionally at the time, I probably would have handled it different. Mm-hmm. But because I'm an emotional creature too.
Yeah.
And that was about,
I'm an emotional creature too.
I know. But, that was about my man. And so then I just was a fucking Wolverine in there.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily the best way to handle something. And so looking back now, I think that I have a better tool set to deal with something like that than I did back then. Mm-hmm. And part of that is just this updated critical thinking, even emotionally, mindset that I have now.
Yeah. So when you would to sit down and really have a truly critical thinking discussion, I would sit down with both parties and like you listen, and then I would also reiterate back to them what I think they just said.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. Because sometimes I think people go, I did listen and I think it fucking sucks.
True.
But they didn't really understand it because when they try to reiterate the point that person made, it's completely warped and distorted.
What if they're just shit talking your mom, man?
Well, why?
That's your ma.
And then you didn't also give her a chance to apologize because you didn't get to listen to her.
Yeah, but she should be apologizing to my mom.
Right, but you
what
should.
do you think of that?
I agree. listen, I'm on your side. But I guess if you were critically thinking, what would you say you would have handled different? You said you were...
I would have told that bitch that I didn't mean to be so mean out of the gate.
No, let's say you could start completely over.
Okay.
So you weren't even mean yet.
Okay. I'd have told that fucking cunt.
And I think you should start again.
Okay, right. I think it's like, hey, did you really say this?
Yeah.
Maybe that.
Yeah. Benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Next time, maybe.
Let's just pretend.
Hey, did you really say this, comma cunt?
Let's just assume we're on the same team first.
Yeah, exactly. See, but that's so a lot of you out there who are dealing with this kind of situation, you got a family member or something, maybe personal, maybe boyfriend, girlfriend, some kind of thing.
Yeah.
This is a better way of doing it, man.
A lot of people have this problem in relationships too, where they think that they immediately assume that their partner's the enemy when they get into an argument instead of realizing that you're on the same team as someone.
Exactly.
You're like, for the most part, a lot of people who even have like opposing religious beliefs or political beliefs, they actually kind of believe the same thing. They actually kind of want the same thing in the big picture.
Just
they have different ways of going about it. Right. But they don't even see each other that way because they won't even have a discussion with each other. They just paint each other as the enemy, and that's end of discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So so like the other night, me and Nikki were having a little tiff.
A little tiff.
Little tiny little tiff.
What was it about?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember either.
I do not recall.
Okay, anyway.
Point being is that instead of just being like Nikki's my enemy right now, I actually sat down and I asked myself why I did that. Oh, you know what? We were watching something. Or you were watching something.
Right.
And then you had already started watching it without me, and I was kind of sad that you were watching it without me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we already started it. And you're like, you want to watch it? And I was like, well, you already started it without me. Obviously, you don't really want to hang out with me right now. Basically.
Being a little bitch.
Not like that much of a bitch about it, but yeah, it is in that vein. And
then I said, well, I only started watching it because you turned off the trailers that played before Netflix usually. Like, because it's so annoying. And I agree with that.
You were just checking it out.
I wanted to check it out. And the only way to check it out is to like play it for a minute or two.
Yeah, why does Netflix let you select a trailer?
Yeah, like, why does it have to be either it automatically plays or it doesn't play at all?
Either it automatically plays and doesn't stop playing, and then no matter where you scroll, it plays another thing.
It's so fucking annoying.
Oh, you're stuck there. So how does Netflix never... You know what? Those execs probably don't even watch their own service.
Probably not. Or maybe they're deaf.
Oh, true.
All of them are deaf.
All of them. So, yeah, that's the thing, right? Instead of... I could have easily just sat there and tried to dig in and be like, you didn't want to watch it with me. You didn't want to watch it with me. Blah, blah, blah. That's so pussy. I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
But I could have done that. I can see myself as a younger man having done that kind of shit and like digging into my own feelings about it.
And then what you would do is you pull from the past or something like that.
Yes.
That's the toxic starts there, where like you build a case against your enemy now of like, well, these are times in the past where I've also felt like this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then I build all my evidence and I just throw it all at you.
Yeah.
And you're back in court again. And then it's like, oh God, here we go. It's going to be an all-nighter for us.
I've been there in a relationship.
Same. So I actually sat there and I was like, what is this really about right now? And actually, I found an arrow with you that I had from like 3 weeks ago.
Right.
And I was able to pull that arrow in front of you.
Yeah, and I had no idea that you even had that arrow.
And then once it was out of me, I really, really felt much better. And that's. And
then we broke the arrow, and it was done. And then
broke it over my leg.
And then we went back and watched that show, and that show sucked.
Don't
tell them what show it is.
Oh, right.
Because, I don't want people to, who worked on the show to get mad.
Oh, true. We don't want to hurt your feelings
bad.
if you worked on that show.
That show, I know you probably worked hard on it.
You worked hard on it, and you did a good job.
But I didn't like it.
No, we didn't like it very much. We thought the set deco was really good.
Yeah, the set deco was cool.
You did real good, so whoever you are out there, if you worked on that show. But if we critically thought about the show, it still sucks.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Well, we were able to break down why we thought it sucked.
Exactly.
So I think that's what we do is we just don't blanket like sucks completely.
Yeah.
We highlighted things that we liked about it. We were able to talk about like what parts we didn't like and why we didn't like it. You didn't like the story from a writer's perspective, and like why we didn't like the story was because it got away from too many of the main characters.
I like the start of the story. Mm-hmm. I never got as invested in the main characters I wanted to.
And then they pulled away from him.
Correct. So instead of just writing the headline, this show sucks, I can tell you why. That's all.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how it should be about everything.
And so that someone having a discussion with you, or maybe likes the show, could actually listen to your points and go like, oh, okay, I could see that. Because I've had this discussion with a lot of people before where they really love a show. They're fucking coming all over it. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I hated that show. And I tell them exactly why I didn't like it. And for me, acting's a huge part of it. Like, if the acting's bad, I can't watch the show. Yeah. I can just, all I see is the words on the script, and I can't get into the scene. It doesn't take me away from reality. It just puts me in like, oh, you're on a set. I'm not in your world. And for a lot of people, the acting doesn't bother them that much.
Right.
So if it's shitty acting, but they still like the story,
they're used to it.
They don't really care. Yeah.
They watch a lot of CW.
And so I've had that discussion before of like why I feel so strongly that I hate it and they love it. And then when we get to that part, they're like, oh, I see why you hate it. Yeah, I don't really care about acting. So I liked the story. And it's like, oh, okay. And then we are able to understand each other. Because it's like, it's not that you have poor taste across the board. It's that you value different things than I do.
And listen, there are some KKK opinions about movies and television out there. Okay, some people do like the Game of Thrones finale.
Oh, I see.
And you know what? I don't want to know those people.
I mean, they're awful people.
They're horrible people.
They're terrible, terrible people.
It's not worth getting to know them.
People that will defend that ending to the ground. Oh, I don't even.
Fuck off. How could you defend what Daenerys did? How could you?
Low intelligence. I think their IQ has to be under 60 or something.
You telling me that Game of Thrones ended well? You're out of your fucking mind.
Game of Thrones could have ended so much better.
That's what I'm saying. Dude, when I was watching that Game of the Thrones, you're thinking to yourself, this show set itself up for the best ending of all time.
Yeah.
Put the bow on it. And instead, they fucking chucked it off of a cliff.
You know what I feel bad about are the people that watched it from the beginning, like they had to wait every week to watch it, because we fucking slam choked that thing in 3 months.
We did.
But
we slam choked it?
Yeah, we slam choked it against the wall and fucked it.
I like that. Can we do that?
No.
Why can't I slam choke fuck you against the wall?
It's not a good time of the month.
Oh, true.
But
can I do it tomorrow?
Maybe in a couple days.
Okay. Would you actually like to be slam choked?
No, I prefer to avoid the throat area. It makes me feel claustrophobic.
I know.
But against the wall is fine.
Okay.
But just not the walls that I painted, because like I have an accent wall that I really like. And
see what I deal with?
Just like make sure it's on one of the shitty walls that we don't like.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
I'll pick that one wall that we both don't like. The one that we talk about how we hate it all the time.
We hate that wall.
We hate that
but we have good reasons for hating that wall.
Oh, we do. We sure do.
It's a bad color.
Yeah.
I didn't pick it.
No. Nikki, what is your take on how I love seasons?
Yes.
I miss seasons.
I think you like the idea of seasons.
True. But you are not very critically thinking and open.
I think I just did
to me to perhaps living in a place that has seasons.
I don't think I'm against the seasons.
You've never lived in a place with seasons, by the way, for the record.
For the record. So I've never been against the seasons part. Never. I've never been like, yo, fuck seasons. I like California because my family is here and I like the beach.
Okay, but
what?
You've never even lived anywhere else. So how would you even know how much you like the other places and other temperatures?
I'm glad you brought that up,
How critically are you thinking about this?
So I have vacationed in other places around the world, around the globe. I'm a worldwide traveler.
Okay.
And they have had different seasons while I'm there. I've been in places where there's snow for a week. I've been in places where there's wind, where there's like high winds. Where I've been in hot places, desert places, mountain places.
You world traveler.
I am a world traveler. I've been in island places, humid places. And I can tell you that by far, California has had the best climate of any of those places that I've ever been. That's just me personally. That's my opinion. And I could put up with those other climates throughout the year if my family was there and there was a beach there. I think I could put up with it. But most of those places, my family is not there and the beach is not there.
So you did somewhat think it through.
Well, I determined what I value about living in where we live.
Have you seen my side of the story when it comes to me getting, say, a Dodge Raptor or Ford Raptor?
No, but I'm just saying don't call me a season hater. because is a different reason why I didn't like.
No, I know, but will you critically think about me
the Dodge
getting a Ford Raptor?
Yeah, it looks like you have a tiny dick.
Okay, but now you got to critically think about it.
Okay, because I know you have a big dick.
No, that's not why you got to critically think about it.
I got to tell everybody though.
No,
if you
that's not why.
If you drive a Raptor, I have to go around telling everybody, and I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to do it.
I just think it's
I'm going to have to have a picture of my phone of your dick so that I can show them that, no, you don't actually have a tiny dick. Because everyone's going to ask. And I don't want that kind of pressure on you or on me.
I think that you've
already made up your mind. And then some people are probably going to be like, I've seen bigger. And I'd be like, where? And then they have to show me a picture of their person's dick. And I don't want to see their boyfriend's dick. I don't want to see it.
I don't want you to see it.
Okay, so right? Isn't that a great argument?
It's a good argument.
Thank you.
But it's not a great argument. I just think that I like the truck. I'm big, so I like to be in big spaces because I'm already big.
Okay.
And I have a Mini Cooper right now, and now actually they're pretty roomy. But being in a truck up off the ground, I miss that.
How do you feel about how much money you're going to be spending on gas? How do you feel about
I don't feel great.
The insurance prices? How do you feel about trying to find parking at night in a crowded area?
Well, that I give up on anyway. I'll probably Uber to a downtown location.
You could fit your Mini Cooper in many places.
I know, it's pretty sick like that. But I just got to say, I wouldn't ever be at an IKEA again looking at a coffee table and going, well, shit, I got to go get my wife's car.
Look, I'm not going to impede on your freedom if you want to purchase whatever vehicle of your choice,
Ford
as long
Raptor.
as it's in the budget that we have.
Yeah.
However, I will judge you.
I just wish that you had more critical thinking skills. This was supposed to turn into me teaching you how to critically think and then you agreeing with me about all the things I want to get and want to do.
I hear you.
But then you're already bursting and breaking my balls pretty hard.
I feel like I'm being pretty fair.
What do you think about steak and a blowjob day?
Steak and a blowjob day?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
You never heard of steak and a blowjob day?
No.
Steak and a blowjob day is it's an internationally recognized holiday.
Why do you get celebrated so much?
We don't.
No,
that's the whole idea. Valentine's Day is about the chick.
First,
usually.
you want. No, it's not.
Sure.
Ever. We both go places together, but you wanted to choke slam me into a wall. You also want a Dodge Raptor. You also want to live somewhere with seasons,
yeah.
And you want a steak and a blowjob.
Yeah.
I mean, you're high maintenance, bro.
But I want you to make me the steak, and then I want you to give me the blowjob.
If this was a first date, I'd walk.
Aw.
Especially if you picked me up in a Dodge Raptor.
You actually would,
Be
huh?
like, I'll Uber home. Thanks.
Oh man. Okay. Good to know. No, so that's basically, I don't know, man. That's what I was going for. I was trying to get a Raptor out of this thing. It doesn't look very good.
I see.
Definitely want to move somewhere that's not California at some point in my life, but like you said, family's the best argument in the world, and why do I have to put so many fucking roots down here?
Well, yeah, and right now we're at a time in history where it's really hard to move anywhere, anyway, or buy a car
That's true.
Do anything. So, hey, isn't that cool?
No, it's not that cool. It feels very bad.
Oh.
But if I'm thinking about it critically, it still sucks.
Why do you think that some people have a hard time critically thinking? Do you think that they just weren't taught to critically think, or do you think is the product of their environment? Maybe they grew up in a place where people just rush to assumptions about people, or do you think it's more of a just in general people? Because I find that it's most people.
I'll never forget being of a certain age and thinking that I had everything figured out.
Yeah.
Like even at 16.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
And like even into your early 20s, sometimes you just think you got the whole fucking world figured out and you're like, I know everything already.
Mm-hmm.
And so that used to close me off to a lot of shit, and I would sneer at a lot of things because I wasn't applying critical thinking. And I remember learning critical thinking like in my early teenage years.
Yeah.
And then just like for some reason, you just think you fucking know everything at that point.
Yeah.
And you're just like dunking on your mom or dad all the time. Like no matter what they say, it's fucking stupid. And like you know better and all that kind of shit. And you know what it's really about, I think? It's because you get told that you don't know things for so long that eventually, you're like, you know what? I do know some shit actually. You kind of push back a little too hard.
I think it's also, I guess, going back to the product of the environment too, because I always thought that I was pretty good at critical thinking. But I remember one time when we first started dating, we had an argument and you called me out for having an emotional argument. And I was so appalled. But then I realized that I was making an emotional argument and I didn't actually have like a reason other than I had always been raised to think a certain way. And until that argument, I hadn't really examined all the other things that maybe I had been raised to think a certain way, just by not even like by my parents or my family like beating it down on me, but just like living in Santa Barbara in a beach town where everyone kind of generally thinks and feels the same way.
Yeah.
Like there weren't a lot of arguments around. Like I wasn't part of a lot of like political debates or anything because
everyone's
just kind of chill and like did things the exact same way. And like people were really open about religions. People were really open about like, I don't know. It was just like a really like
you've done the same thing for me over the years
hippy-dippy
too,
town.
because I remember having certain discussions with you. I don't even necessarily remember exactly what they were, but I remember as soon as I had to explain out my position on something, by the end of it, I realized that you had me. You know what I'm saying? Like I realized, like, because what you were saying, I don't even remember what the fuck it was, but you were saying something, and it doesn't matter. But at the end of it, I was like, oh my God, when I hear it out loud, I don't even necessarily agree with that.
Yeah. I think that's the thing is that a lot of us aren't forced to just say it out loud.
Yeah.
And by the time someone questions us on it and we have to say it out loud or articulate it, we realize how dumb it sounds as it's coming out of our mouth.
That's where you're showing intelligence to me, is when you can go, oh my God, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Like that's smart. And it's not that everybody that you talk to has to be wrong. It's that you can be wrong too.
Yeah, totally.
That's all.
And I like honestly, I can't wait to be wrong because then that's how you learn. It's like you are able to now adjust the file that's in your head because like everything was like, okay, everything works like this. This is how this thing over here is. And then someone shows you something new about that thing. And at first you're like, no, that's not how that thing is. And then you're like, wait, is that how the thing is?
Yeah.
And then if they're right, you go, oh shit, let me adjust my whole records. Now I see this thing a different way.
Yeah, and this carries into everything, man. Like emotions, like our relationship, like our marriage, like it helps with everything that we do. Like I can help friends get through their arguments usually because I hear the both sides of them, and then I just try to present their cases because I'm pretty good at talking about talking in general.
Yeah.
And so I can usually line up their cases pretty good so that they can hear them unemotionally for each other. And then it can help a lot. Or it can, sometimes lead to breakup. Because they hear them all stacked out and then they're like, oh yeah, we still feel this way very strongly. And then it's like irreconcilable. But that happens too. But it's about, I just wish more people would apply these things. That's all. Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's easy to learn and hard to apply. Like it's sort of like you have to actually be actively incorporating it and make it a habit in your life to be questioning things, to be questioning yourself, to be, questioning why you have such hard opinions on certain things and seeing if you can explore another side of something. I think those are all habits that you have to incorporate. It's just like how you can learn about a healthy lifestyle or diet or exercise or whatever, and you can know it in your head, but then if you're not applying it, it doesn't really make a difference to your life or it doesn't change you as a person.
Yeah, and that's where I have the most fun too because, I troll a lot, obviously, like on JK or on our podcast, obviously. And I have my own beliefs, hardcore core beliefs, like about being honest with people and like trustworthy and like love one person, all that kind of shit, right? But everything else is just fun. Like my opinions are so malleable.
Yeah.
That it's just fun.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you're around people who get very heated about it.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh shit.
It's like every time I talk about astrology, like I just think it's fun.
Right. And it's fun. It's fun.
People are like, you believe that? I'm like, no, I just think it's fun. Like I just think it's fun.
How about how long have human beings been on the earth? And how long has life been boring? How many times throughout human history did families sit down and go, well, what's our fun budget?
Exactly.
They didn't have a fucking fun budget. There was no fun to be had ever. So this idea that they were supposed to keep it all boring too, like they came up with astrology because they're so fucking bored.
Right. And then also it's like, oh, these people kind of do have a similar trait sometimes. Isn't that weird
Absolutely.
that everyone I've met
Isn't it
this
fun?
month has like this one trait? That's kind of, oh, you don't have that trait, but you were born in that month. That's weird. You're out.
You're out. Recency
weird.
bias. Fuck
You're
off.
weird. Yeah.
I mean, right.
Yeah, it's weird.
But
yeah.
it's not a religion.
Right.
But some people take it to crazy places.
People get very heated, and I see the same thing. There's certain things I give a fuck about, like very like ideals or whatever in my own life, but then like most of everything in the world is pretty silly, and like I just like to explore it, and it's fun, and it makes more sense if you do think of us as living in a simulation. Like, all right, I got 80 years in this place. That's not a lot. I'm already like almost halfway through. Like that's kind of crazy. So like why spend so much time like being so like serious on like this is my opinion on this one thing here in this tiny little box.
Yeah.
I think it's because people don't feel like they have control over anything, and
they have to project outwardly.
I think if you just kind of release that control, like, or that it matters so much to like have it so tightly. And I'm only speaking from experience too, because I've been there, like where I'm like, why can't I have control over this thing? I can't control everything. And it's so much more fun when you just let that go.
Could not agree more.
Yeah. So I hope that helps someone out there that needed to hear that, or maybe like you're having a hard time with a family or people that you're talking to, and you like are getting heated over something. I mean, just like treat it as an experiment to like listen to them and like listen to it as almost like it's not real. Like
it's an experiment.
It's like for a while I was booking some shows, like TV shows, and it took forever to book my first TV show. But once I did, I booked a couple in a row, and I thought like, that's it. I made it. I'm on my way. I got released from my restaurant job, and I was like, I don't have to be a waitress anymore. I'm an actor. That's all I'm doing forever. And then like 2 years go by, and I didn't book another show. I had to go back to waitressing. And when I went back to waitressing, after 2 years of thinking like I never had to go back again,
you evolved.
It felt like it wasn't a real place. And so instead of being mad or sad about it, where I was like, oh my God, my life's over, like I'm back to waitressing again, I treated it like a fun experiment where like, oh, I don't belong here. Like, this is fun. I'm playing a character. I'm playing a character that has to waitress and stuff. And I think that if you like having that approach made life a lot less heavy.
Yeah, man.
And it made that job not suck, and it made just like the day more fun. And so I think if you're struggling and having a hard time with something that you can't control, just think of it like you're playing a character in a movie. Like
I started doing this. Me and Joe, we did this funny thing called Money Masters of Money, where we're doing a program about how you can take control back over your life and make fuck tons of money and fuck hookers and make them fall in love with you and build an empire for yourself. And
the dream.
Right. And part of that is taking yourself, putting a blazer on, putting a gold chain around your neck, wearing sunglasses, and when people are like, yo, dude, what are you wearing? Like, what's your deal? You're like, you're a fucking hater. Like, I'm killing it. Like, I am successful. I am projecting success. All this shit.
Yeah.
It just makes everything more fun because you're putting on this coat, you're putting on this character almost, and you're still living your life, but you're doing it as a money man or as a money boy or money girl, and it's just makes it more fun.
Yeah.
That's all. Like, and so when people try to make fun of you, you're in on the joke already.
Yeah, because it's like, why people that are making fun of you, like, why do you feel like you have to live in a rigid box of rules that other people set for you?
People take themselves very seriously.
Exactly. And that's what I've always found so interesting, is that if I'm like in my own room, in my own house, and I'm putting sage everywhere because I want to try it or whatever, I heard that it clears out energies. Like people that are like, oh, you're dumb for doing that. It's like, why do you care? Like we're all just people that were put on a planet with no manual, and then you listen to someone that said, oh, life is like this, and this is how you have to run your life, and then you never questioned it. And I'm just saying, like, I just want to question it sometimes. Like, why do I have to live like that? What if I lived like this? What does that feel like? Oh, that feels kind of interesting.
It's not as serious.
I like to live there and be like, oh, do I like that? I don't know. I would change this part, and then I go change that part.
Yeah, man. Dude,
this is fun.
The other day, I was raging because some guy on Instagram's telling me I faked my pranks back in the day. Which is, Nikki knows more than anybody.
Yeah.
It's just...
You would actually come home mad from filming days sometimes if, like, you know, you couldn't get what you wanted to get. And then you'd go out another day and get, like, it would have to be real.
Look, nothing pisses me off more than people saying I faked my shit. Right?
Yeah.
Nothing. So, because we worked so hard at it.
Yeah.
For so long. And we had to set everything up so well.
I was there. I remember.
Right.
It actually made me uncomfortable that it wasn't faked because I had to be in a couple of them, and it made me so fucking uncomfortable.
You can't fake that shit. It makes it's so much better when you just get actual people reacting to shit. Okay. So this guy was clowning me up and down in my Instagram comments talking about how I faked my shit. And then I was rebuttaling him. I was fucking stewing. I was fucking pissed. And then at the end of it, he's like, yo, dude, I'm just kidding. I was fucking trolling the Iceman. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, he taught me something. Like that I'm taking myself too seriously.
Yeah.
Here. You know what I'm saying? That's all. It's a message for everybody.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us.
Right.
Yeah. It's definitely happened to me before where someone will put a sarcastic comment because they know we like sarcasm.
Yeah.
But if it hits you on the wrong day,
it can happen.
And you think that they're being serious and they hit that one little button where you're like, you kind of have a problem with it already and they didn't know that backstory. Yeah, and then they're like, yo, I was joking. Oh, I hate that feeling.
But then
it makes you go, yeah, I was taking myself seriously.
And then I can copy and paste that to when somebody is actually saying that. It's like, yo, I know the truth. Whatever.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where we can use those things to help us.
Yeah.
So don't take everything so seriously out there, folks.
Fucks. And also, fuck the Game of Thrones writers.
Oh my God, fuck them. I seriously I don't even want to hear a debate about it.
Nope.
What do you think of that?
Not open to it.
How about the way that they killed the Ice King or whatever the hell his name is? Night King?
Yeah, the Night King.
The Ice King was a way sicker name.
I mean, there was an ice wall thing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But the way that he just randomly got dispatched, I was like, all that buildup between him and Jon Snow.
Yeah.
And he gets knifed in the back like that.
I know.
Un-freaking real.
You know what? Karma happened to those producers.
That's true. They got kicked off of that Star Wars. Tell you what.
And you know what? I feel like we're even now. I feel like the world's been evened out.
Maybe. I hope that those guys are watching a show that they really love and that it ends like shit too. That's what I hope. And I hope that they get really invested.
I hope that on them.
I hope that they really, really get invested in this female character and that they watch her freeing slaves and doing all this kick-ass shit. And then she just completely contradicts herself at the end. And goes back on everything she believes in.
For no reason.
And I hope D.B.
Weiss. It's not justified.
And whatever the fuck his name is, they watch that and they're like, wow, you trolled me, Steve Green. You fucking trolled me.
Oh, you're the writer of that show?
Wouldn't that be sick?
Yeah, that'd be sick. All
and
right,
at the end in the credits, it would say, fuck you in all caps.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Be sure to subscribe and rate us. It really helps. Also, share with your friends if you liked it. If you got something out of today, maybe you could pull a clip and be like, see, this is why we should listen to each other in a debate.
Yeah.
And then you'd be friends. That's nice. Everything's nice.
Like, hey, honey, you should really listen to this part that Steve was talking about
with the
Ford
KKK?
Raptor.
Oh. And see
hey,
you
honey,
next
you
time.
should really hear this Ford Raptor part.
All right. Bye.